found himself and those he encountered drawn into life-changing situations. Oftentimes, in those moments, they were uncomfortably close.
Hey, I'm proud of you. It's cold out there. It's not very nice outside, but you are here and you are present, and I believe God has a good word for us this morning. Have you ever made the mistake of thinking that you were a bigger deal than what you were? I have. In middle school, we had, I was in band, and we had these middle school band banquets award for band, and I was not really one that was into band a lot, but I did like awards, and so I did look forward to that. I played the trombone. Do we have any other trombone players in the crowd? All right, right there. Okay, we're a rare breed, I guess. But anyway, the morning of the awards, I was in the band teacher's office, Miss Ingham's office, and I was getting some sheet music or something like that, and on the way out, she said, "Hey, Brian, I sure am proud of you for how much you've improved this year." Well, let me tell you, words matter, okay? Because one of the most prestigious awards that was going to be given out that night was the Most Improved Player of the Year award. And Miss Ingham just had said, basically, prepare your acceptance speech. And so I thought I had it down. It was a lock because, I had gone from third chair that year to second chair all the way up to first chair trombone. Thank you very much. And I was a lock. So I went out and just like any other humble middle schooler, I told everybody. And I told everybody in band class, I am getting the Most Improved Player of the Year award tonight, okay? If they weren't in band, I found them, and I told them, I am getting the Most Improved Player of the Year award. I even found Mr. Janikowski, our janitor, okay, and I let him know, okay. I went home, and I told my parents and my family, I said, hey, pick out your outfit, because tonight's going to be a very special night, okay. One of the people in this family are going to get honored tonight. Well, I showed up, and it was a banquet, so we all get our food. We all sit down. I sit down with my family, and some of my friends are sitting across from me. And Ms. Ingham, she gets up, and she starts giving out these lesser awards, and I'm not getting any of those. Well, but it makes sense, right? Because, those are those awards. I'm getting the Most Improved Player of the Year award, okay? Well, finally, the moment came, and she announced, she said, okay, and now, time for the Most Improved Player of the Year award. And this year's award goes to, and she says it. And you know what I did in that moment? I scooted out my chair, ready to stand up. I practically had my hand in my pocket, ready to grab my acceptance speech and go up there. And she said, and the Most Improved Player of the Year award goes to Corey Harland. Now, guys, there's about 1,500 people in Texhoma, and I had told about 1,400 of them, okay? The other 100, the line was just busy, okay? I told everybody. Now, my family, they kind of had a chuckle, but my friends were not so gracious. I can't believe their heads didn't snap off their head as quickly as they turned and looked and pointed and laughed at me. I think I even saw Mr. Janikowski off in the background, and he using his mop as a trombone going, womp, womp, womp. Man, have you ever been so sure of something, so convinced of your own importance that you just didn't see things right? You just didn't see it correctly. Now, that was middle school band, so it's not life or death. But what happens when we carry that same attitude to God or even to other people? What happens then whenever we feel that we're more important than what we ought to act like? Now, we're starting a series called Uncomfortably Close, and I got to say, I'm really excited about this series. I thought the last series was really fun and interesting and going through the life of Joseph. I'm looking forward to this one because there are moments, whenever you look in the Bible, there are moments where people get uncomfortably close to Jesus, like physically close. And every single time somebody gets right up in Jesus' face, or uncomfortably close to him, something amazing happens. And so we're going to take a look at all those instances where people are uncomfortably close to Jesus. And this one is going to be in Luke chapter 7. So if you got your Bibles, open up to Luke chapter 7, and you're going to find that there are two people that are uncomfortably close with Jesus, but they couldn't be further apart in their approach. So in Luke chapter 7, I want to turn to verse 36. Go all the way down to verse 36. I'm going to read one verse. I want to talk about something, and then we'll read the rest of the pericope there. So look at verse 36. It says, when one of the Pharisees invited Jesus to have dinner with him, he went to the Pharisee's house and he reclined at the table. This is important to me, and I just wanted to take a pause to explain something right here. That we are used to seeing that Jesus would go to eat with Zacchaeus or other tax collectors, right? We're aware of that Jesus would eat with other sinners. But I think it's also important to note that he would eat with the Pharisees and those people. Jesus was harsh with the religious leaders at times, but he never counted anybody out. He would engage with anybody and everybody. And I want that to be our culture here as well. I have seen something really incredible recently in this church, that whenever somebody walks through the door, especially if they're here for the first time, I've seen several people, now we got a lot of people gone today, but I've seen several people that have been specifically trying to look around and engage people that they don't know, right? They're showing up early to do that. Man, I think it's interesting that when you look around from one side of the auditorium all the way to the other side, we are very different people. We are not coming to church because we are interested in the same things. I mean, you look across and you see young people, you see middle-aged people, and I don't see anybody that I would categorize as old people, so we got to work on that. But we see people of all different age groups. I see OU fans. I see OSU fans. I even see some Texas fans. I don't know who let them in, but they're here. I see people of all different styles of life and works. They work in different industries. I see business owners. Okay, if you need bailed out of jail, I know a guy for that. Right? If you need a load of hay, I know a guy for that. Right? If you need your taxes done, I know a gal for that. If you want some piano lessons, I know a gal for that. If you got an old refrigerator that needs hauled off, I know a guy, right? If you need a walker or an oxygen tank, I know a guy. Listen, if you need sod, I know a guy for that. Listen, I even know a guy that if you're looking for a hermetic switch, I have no idea what those things do. I just know that they told me that they're used in space. So after you're done working your cattle, if you want to get back to working on your satellite that you're making in your barn and you just need a hermetic switch, I know a guy. I know where you can get it. We are different people here. This gathering here today is not a gathering of interests. We are gathered here because of our affinity to Christ. And therefore, we are not a social gathering. We are a missional gathering. We are on mission. We are here to do something, right? And there was a guy, William Temple. He was a former Archbishop of Canterbury, and he said this. And I think this is interesting. See if you agree with it. He says, the church is the only institution that exists primarily for the benefit of those who are not its members. We gather because we are on mission. So here's my encouragement. Here's my ask. Engage one another. It matters. Show up early. Put your stuff down in your chair and then get up and look around and talk to somebody that you don't know. Because it matters. We want to engage people so that they feel warm and welcome here. Just like Jesus, he went to the Pharisee's house. Not because he was like him, but because he wanted to engage into a relationship. One sign of a healthy church is a loud lobby. Look, let's read it the rest of this. It says, in verse 37, it says, a woman in that town who lived a sinful life learned that Jesus was eating at the Pharisee's house. So she came there with an alabaster jar of perfume. As she stood behind him at his feet, weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears. She wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and poured perfume on them. When the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would know who was touching him and what kind of woman she is, that she is a sinner. And Jesus answered him. He said, Simon, I have something to tell you. Well, tell me, teacher, he said. 2 people owed money to a certain moneylender. One owed him 500 denarii, the other 50. And neither of them had the money to pay him back. So he forgave the debts of both. Now, which of them will love him more? Simon replied, I suppose the one who had the bigger debt forgiven. You have judged correctly, Jesus said. Then he turned towards the woman, but he said to Simon, do you see this woman? I came into your house, and you didn't give me any water for my feet. But she wet my feet with her own tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not give me a kiss, but this woman, from the time I entered, has not stopped kissing my feet. You did not put oil on my head, but she has poured perfume on my feet. Therefore, I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, as her great love has shown. But whoever has been forgiven little loves little. Then Jesus said to her, your sins are forgiven. The other guests began to say among themselves, who is this who even forgives sins? And Jesus said to the woman, your faith has saved you. Go in peace. Right off the bat, we see 2 people who are physically close to Jesus, but they could not be further apart in their approach to him. Now, in verse 37, it said that this woman brought an alabaster jar. Those jars were expensive because they were made out of stone, a translucent stone, and they were hewn out. Those jars were expensive, but the perfume in it was even more expensive. There was another gift that was given, a similar gift that was given to Jesus later. And it said that the value of that was up to a year's wages. So just think about that. You take all the money that you make in a year, and you have that in a jar, and are you willing to pour that out and to worship to Jesus? And this woman was. Now, this jar was interesting because it was usually kept around their necks, right? Tied with a string, worn as a necklace, kind of tucked into their clothes. And the reason for that is, number one, it's costly. It's worth a lot, so keeping it near you is important. But also, I'm assuming that this woman is a prostitute. And so she would use this in her line of work. And so she would use it as, perfume, but then also they would use it as a breath freshener too. And so she would use this on a daily use. And so she would do this, but then for the prostitute, this is especially a significant action. Because what is she doing? She is taking the very thing that she needs for her profession, and she is emptying it out. This is repentance here. This is full-on repentance. She is leaving that life. Because not only is she sobbing, she is wetting his feet with her tears. She is sorry for what she has done, which is repentance. But the other half of repentance is changing directions, right? And she is emptying it out. The very tools that she used for evil, now she's using for good. The very things that she used in that line of work, now she's using to worship Jesus with. Now, we all have a choice in how we use our possessions. And I'm willing to say that in eternity, when we can see clearly, you will not regret $1 or 1 hour that you give to the Lord. You just won't. But what we will regret is clenching on to our possessions for our own personal gain. Simon, on the other hand, is also spending money, right? Because he's hosting this event. He's hosting Jesus. He's paid for all the food in the gathering there. But we see that it wasn't necessarily to honor Jesus. It was to honor himself. Now, he is a Pharisee, and that's not a small thing, right? A Pharisee doesn't come to become a Pharisee by any small means, right? There was a lot of work. Only the hardest working students and the most apt students made the cut, okay? You had to be special, right? And then on top of that, it was a life of extreme discipline, that they would follow and regard these meticulous laws day in and day out. And so he is important. He has prestige, right? But because of that, it's easy to think that he was spiritually superior to this woman. And I'm assuming that the whole reason that he invited Jesus over was not to honor Jesus, but was to evaluate Jesus. These two people are very different people. That's not hard to see in the text. Very different people. But their postures are also very different. Because in verse 38, it says that she stood behind him at his feet weeping, and she began to wet his feet with her tears. Then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and poured perfume on them. And this woman, she is standing there and she is repenting. She needs to repent, and she is repenting. That's the posture that she's taken. And when it says that she wet his feet with her tears, that verb, the wet, that she wet his feet, that verb is translated in other parts of the Bible as rain. I mean, she is sobbing. She is really sorry in her heart. And so then she gets down and wipes his feet with her hair, right? And then she starts kissing his feet. And whenever it says kissing, right, it's not just, the verb there is not just kind of a peck of a kiss. She is profusely kissing his feet. She's not stopping. She's going on and on. I mean, talk about uncomfortably close here. There we are, right? I don't know if you've had anybody kiss your feet like that, but it's kind of weird, right? It's not normal, right? And so this is happening. And then it says, that she poured out. She poured out the perfume. What that means is it's the word, it's the Greek word aleiphin, which means to rub it in, to massage it in. So she not only she pours it, but she anoints it and then she rubs it in, right? This is her posture right now. And she's taken time to do this. But as this is happening, Simon has a totally different posture. In verse 39, it says, when the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would know who is touching him and what kind of woman she is, that she is a sinner. He is over there silently judging this girl. Now, I don't want to be too hard on Simon here because, I can understand that he would be annoyed here. I mean, he's trying to host this meal for Jesus. I mean, he wants Jesus to be part of this, and he's probably gone through some care to make sure that the vibe is right for this, right? And this woman who was not invited, she was not supposed to be there. Not only does she come, but then she takes over. I mean, she just walks in, and you got to know that if people are talking and eating and doing, all that has got to stop. You know, I mean, you're sitting here looking at this, what's going on, and this woman is just going on, and eventually all the conversation stops, all the eating stops, and they're just kind of waiting for this woman to be done here. And so it's got to be, for him, it's got to be super annoying. But we see that the real reason that he's annoyed is at Jesus. He's annoyed at Jesus, not just this woman. He's not just judging the woman. He's actually judging Jesus because he said if Jesus would know, he should shoo her away. And he's not. And he takes the approach and the posture of judgment. Now, in that culture, Simon should have honored Jesus by offering water for his feet and a kiss of greeting and oil for his head. Now, aren't you so glad that we don't do that anymore? I mean, if I came over to your house and you took off my shoes and my socks and started rubbing my toes, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do with that, right? If you anoint me with oil, I don't, but if you come in for a kiss, well, I'll just tell you, I can't handle that. In fact, I know that because it happened to me. I was in a different country when a man tried to kiss me. I was in the country of Belarus on a mission trip. It's over there by Ukraine and Russia. And I was over there, and we were in a room, and this priest was going to come by and visit with us. And he came by and he came to me and was going to greet me. And I stuck out. You know how we do in America, right? We shake hands, right? And sometimes we shake hands at a distance, right? We're okay with that. I have a bubble, right? I'm all right with that. Well, he came in and he disregarded my hand and he went and he grabbed my shoulders and he pulled me in and he was coming in to my face. He's coming in, and I'm not sure what in the world is happening right here. I'm from Oklahoma, okay? I don't know. We don't play that way. And so he's coming in, and I think now, looking back on it, I think he was trying to kiss me on the cheek, and like they do in that culture. But I didn't know that. I just saw his lips coming closer and closer. And so at the very last second, I turned my head, and he kissed me on the bottom side of my neck. Super awkward. Well, he was gracious, and he kind of moved on. And my interpreter and the rest of the people in the room, they dressed me down, and they told me how inappropriate that was and how awful and just how I should feel ashamed of myself. And my defense was simple. He tried to kiss me. Does not anybody else saw that, right? They said, no, that's how we are. We're a little more sophisticated over here. I said, well, that must be because our men don't kiss other men on the mouth. But in that culture, all of that was accepted and it was expected, right? It might be the equivalent of this. We don't do that here in America or we don't do that now. But if I invited you over to my house as a guest and we're going to have dinner and you knocked on the door, it might be the equivalent of me not getting up from the couch, right? I would go to the door. I would open the door for you. I'd greet you. I'd shake your hand. I would leave your shoes on, right? And then I'd walk you into my house. But it might be the equivalent of just sitting on the couch, not getting up, not doing any of that, and just yelling, hey, it's open. Come on in. Find a seat. I mean, it would be considered rude or even odd, right? And Simon does none of this for Jesus. He's not trying to honor Jesus. He's trying to evaluate him. I think he thinks that it's an honor for Jesus to be in his presence. Whereas the woman has a posture that she is honored to be in the presence of Jesus. These are different people. And their postures are completely different. But here's the thing. Their need is the same. Jesus knows what Simon is thinking. And so Jesus tells him the story of two guys that owed more money than they could ever pay. But here was the major point of that story, that neither of them could pay. That one owed some money and the other owed a giant amount of money, but neither of them had the money to pay. They both needed forgiveness. And here's what Simon could not see, that both the sinful woman and himself, they both needed Jesus. They both needed forgiveness. The ultimate truth was that while this woman and Simon were very different, they were very much the same in that they both needed Jesus. Now, I know that some people have taught that, in the Bible that all sin is equal in the eyes of God. Well, it's not, right? All the way. Right? In the Old Testament, there was some sins that were dealt with much harsher than other sins, right? God did not equate those sins the same, right? In Luke chapter 12, just 5 chapters later after this, Jesus would say that some people are going to be punished in eternity way harsher than other people, right? They're ranked sins here. In Proverbs chapter 6, God says there's a list of 7 sins that I especially hate, right? There are some things that God really doesn't like. However, yeah, all sin, it doesn't matter what you do, it will separate you from God. So they're all equal in that terms. And what Simon could not see was that, yes, she had committed worse sins, but that they were equal at the foot of the cross. They both needed Jesus, no matter what they had done. Now, I know that I said that the woman had committed worse sins than Simon. But I guess if you look at Proverbs chapter 6, do you know in that list of 7 sins that God especially hates, do you know what sin is numero uno? Pride. So maybe I don't know that he wasn't a worse sinner than this woman. The fact of the matter is that this woman needed Jesus. And she could see that. But Simon needed Jesus too. And because he thought himself superior, spiritually superior, he couldn't see past it. This story hits home for every single one of us. And it's just simply this. Number one, have a posture of grace. As parents, have you ever looked, at each other as parents and said, pointed to your kids and say, did we ever act that way? You look at your kids and you're thinking, wow, these guys are weird. These guys are odd. Why are they acting? Did we ever act that foolish? Because it's easy to forget. The answer is yes, we did. We did act that way. It's easy to forget. And as Christians, it's easy to point at somebody else after we have lived a Christian life for a while and to point at them and say, man, surely I never lived that way. And it's easy to turn around and judge. It's easy to forget how much of a mess that we once were. A grace-filled person has a great memory. They remember their own need for grace. And there's a reason that the early church took communion every single week. It was to remind themselves of how much they needed grace every single week. I would be so ashamed if Jesus showed up while I was judging somebody in my own mind and he began to write in the dirt my worst sins. I think sometimes whenever you're faced with the reminder of how much you need Jesus, it makes it easy to let the stone go. Judging others often comes from comparison because we think, at least I'm not like them. But Jesus calls us to compassion. Simon compared, but Jesus had compassion. Judging others often comes from compassion. So here's a practical step. When you catch yourself judging, ask this question to yourself. What's their story? I wonder what their story is. Because instead of assuming the worst, assume that there's something deeper that you don't see. I promise you, as a little girl, this woman didn't aspire to be a prostitute. There's got to be a story there. Have you ever seen all the stories of people shoplifting here recently? All the people that are slamming their way into stores and they're shoplifting and they're running out and these guys aren't doing anything about it, and it's just causing a culture there that's just not good. And we've all seen those stories. Well, there was a young man recently that was caught shoplifting in the grocery store, but this time they tried to do something about it, and they called the cops, and Officer Vasquez was the one that responded to him. They caught the guy. And this time the grocery store manager wanted to press charges. And there's at some point of us that were like, good, there needs to be some consequences. And I think that's overall a good thing. But this time, the officer, he thought, man, I wonder what the story is here. So he brought the man away from the manager, and he said, hey, what's your story? Why did you try to steal this stuff today? And he handed him baby formula. And he said, I cannot afford this, but I need baby formula for my baby. Well, Officer Vasquez, he had every right to throw the book at him and arrest him. He had the right. But instead of that, he said, man, I don't want you to steal. He still held him accountable. He said, I do want to help. And he went in and he paid for the baby formula. And they let him go. And then later he connected him to services to help him get back on his feet, and he did. And that was a turning point in that man's life. Instead of being hardened because of the judgment that he deserved, he got back up on his feet and he was restored. Can I ask you to make a huge change in your heart today? Can we stop speaking negatively about people? That's a tough one. Can we do it? Can we at least try to stop speaking negatively without finding out their story? It's true for Simon. It's true for us that a lifetime of religious effort means nothing without a heart of humility and love. And that's the second one. have a posture of humility. Have you ever noticed that the closer you come to Jesus, the further that you realize that you are? The closer you come into the light, the more you realize how messed up you are. In this story, Simon assumes that he knows better. I just want to say, be careful when you think that you know better than everyone else. I've had to learn the hard way on this one. Only a fool assumes that he knows better without asking a single question. Of course, Simon would say that he saw her whenever Jesus said, Simon, do you see her? Do you see this woman? And Simon would say, yeah, I see her, but he didn't care to know her. Jesus is asking us to take a second look at someone that we're currently judging. The woman, on the other hand, she enters the scene unashamed. Posture is of humility, complete humility. There was a newly appointed CEO of a successful company. He was eager to prove himself here at this company. And so on his first day, his predecessor handed him 2 envelopes. And he said that when you face a major crisis, open the first one. And if a second crisis comes, open the second one. Well, months passed, and eventually the company hit a rough patch, and the CEO remembered the envelopes, and so he opened the first one. And it read, blame your predecessor. And so in the press conferences and meetings, he did just that. He pointed to the previous leadership's decisions as the cause of the struggles, and it worked for a while. But then another crisis hit, so he remembered the envelopes, and he opened the second one, and it read, prepare 2 envelopes. Pride shifts blame. It avoids responsibility, and it eventually leads to a downfall. But humility, on the other hand, it takes ownership. And this woman, she took ownership of her life, of her decisions. And she walked into that house with a posture of humility. Meanwhile, Simon stood proud and judgmental. James 4:6 says, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Try washing somebody's feet before stabbing them in the back. The last one is this: have a posture of worship. Worship isn't just singing, we know that. Worship is what we pour out onto Jesus' feet. This woman, she didn't hold anything back. Her tears, her dignity, and her most valuable possession. Worship is responding to Jesus. And did you notice that the woman never said anything? She never spoke. Yet her actions proclaim more than any words ever could. The woman, she gave the best that she had in worship. When I stand and I worship God, I don't want to do it with a heart that I'm crossing my arms, that I'm giving begrudgingly worship to God. No, I want to worship God in truth and in spirit. I want to give Him the best that I have. Not the leftovers, not begrudgingly. The only people who give anything other than their best are people who don't understand what they've been given. This story in the Bible shows us that we need Jesus more than we think. We needed grace, and He hung on a cross to save us from the wrath of God. The wrath that I deserved. The grace that I didn't deserve. Let me pray. God, it's no secret that we need You. And God, I pray that You would make that abundantly clear over and over in our lives. And God, I pray that You would change our hearts, that if we don't understand our need for You, I pray that You would make that clear. God, I pray that if there's anybody in here today that needs You for the first time, that they would have the courage to do what this woman did, and that they would pour out worship unto You. this morning, God. And I pray that you would do amazing things and wonderful things in our lives as we give ourselves into worship. And I pray that as we stand and as we worship in response, that you would see hearts that are fully committed to you. We want to give you our best. We don't want to give you our leftovers. So God, I pray that you'd be blessed in what you see in us. We love you. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Hey guys, as you know, if you ever need to talk or pray, I would love to do that. I'll stand over here for the next couple songs, and I'd love to pray with you, talk with you. Or if you would rather just follow with me during the week, or any of our elders, please have the courage to do so. It could change everything for you. Let's stand and sing.